Right, so a lot of things have happened in the 3-month break that I have taken. Boris has caused more tears than coronavirus ever did. And it's caused a lot of disruptions in football as well. Teams like Newcastle, Fulham, having games called off as COVID runs through their squads. I also wanted to talk about the Leeds phenomenon that is happening at the moment. There seems to be a bit of a pendulum with a lot of the football community unsure of where they sit. On one hand, is Leeds an overhyped team? Is Bielsa an overhyped manager with a plan A and nothing else? Are his teams too open, and should he change his style of play? And then on the other hand, we have the Bielsa faithful applauding the free-flowing, excellent football that we're seeing, and generally saying that Leeds have been a joy to watch in the Premier League this season. And I'm going to discuss just where I sit on that spectrum. But Leeds are not without their fair share of controversy. We're going to talk about the Amazon pundit Karen Kearney and the comments aimed at her after a statement she made during the Leeds United and West Bromwich Albion game, where she mentioned that Leeds only got promoted from the Championship because of COVID. The Leeds Twitter has defended its view, or has defended itself and the club from Karen Kearney, and as a result, the Leeds as a club have been vilified by women in sport for their comments, and we're going to discuss those as well. So the first thing I wanted to really discuss and go over is why Leeds are such a polarising team at the moment. There are several YouTubers at the moment singing Leeds' praises, and it's become very apparent that Leeds have become many people's second team. But there are some people that don't understand maybe the Bielsa hype, and in their view are potentially getting very tired of the Leeds loving that appears to be going through the media at the moment. Now, having seen Leeds for most of my life in the Championship and League One, I've seen several managers go through the club, and they've had no real impact on the team other than being a bog standard mid-table Championship outfit. Bielsa has come in and he's been given the same players to work with. Let's get that straight. If Bielsa hasn't got even I would say a top-tier Championship club squad of players, in my opinion. He has, as a coach, transformed them and worked with them to get them to a point where we are able to compete fairly well in the Premier League, I believe. From the outsider perspective, they wouldn't have seen this transformation. They would have seen Bielsa's first season in the Premier League and will have made a judgment on that. So I can definitely understand why there's a lot of confusion and a lot of people being fed up with Leeds being mentioned in the media and getting a lot of praise for results that they probably shouldn't be getting. I wanted to address a couple of comments on pundits and other YouTubers slating Leeds for, in particular, the Manchester United result, the 6-2 battering that we took, and also the most recent result against Spurs where we lost 3-0. Very eager to jump on the other side of the spectrum and going in on Leeds, saying this is why they're not a good team. This is why they're not able to compete, and they shouldn't be getting this much praise. Well, hold on a second. We're going to need to look at the squads in question here. Manchester United and Spurs being solid Premier League clubs and have been for many, many years. The money that they've spent on players cannot be compared to Leeds. So I think the battering that we took and the method of play style that Leeds have was to be expected. We don't have the players to compete with a Spurs or a Manchester United just yet. And I think it's a little bit unfair for other YouTubers and pundits to maybe overly criticise Leeds for these results. and then maybe look over performances against the teams that we are battling realistically with, and those are other mid-table and just above relegation teams. I'm talking teams like Brighton, teams like Crystal Palace, Newcastle, even Arsenal at this point in time. Those are the matches against teams that we can be judged on because they are realistically our rivals for this season, and I didn't really see a lot of that. On the other hand, I wanted to address another YouTuber that I felt embarrassed the Leeds United fan base as a whole with some comments. Rob Mulholland recently went on the 888 Talks, 888 Sport YouTube channel, I believe, as a preview for the Leeds-Chelsea game, another game where Leeds were heavily exposed for their flaws. And maybe they were in jest, maybe they went over my head, but the comments made appeared very bullish, very standing behind the Leeds Bielsa corner and not really taking in the viewpoint of anyone else, saying that Leeds were going to batter Chelsea and we're going to batter these top 6, top 4 challenging teams. And that just simply isn't going to be the case at this point in time. And I think as a Leeds fan, you need to be objective in your view, and you can, and it's all very well singing the praises of Leeds. There's a lot to praise them for, but I believe it discredits the club when you're going in not being objective and making some embarrassing comments about what we expect of our club. We're not going to challenge for top 6. We're not going to challenge for Europe this season. It's just not realistic, and that's not something that the fan base really needs to get involved in. I'll briefly go over the Spurs result then as a little bit of a review. We're going to ease our way back into the YouTube scene, seeing as how I've taken a 3-month break. What did I think of the game? I thought it went very much as expected. Leeds played well. There was attacking intent there. Maybe a little bit of a lack of quality in the final third, looking for that final pass. But Tottenham, Spurs are a great side. They exploited our evident weakness at the back. We leave a lot of space with the man-for-man marking system. And they have the players to do that. They have the players to capitalise and punish mistakes. Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, they had great games. And they're world-class players. Players that we are pitting up against our makeshift back line of Luke Ayling, Pascal Struijk. In typical Bielsa fashion, we had the possession and we did play some really good, exciting football at times. But we were outclassed in the ruthlessness and the clinicalness of the final third, that final ball and that killer pass. I don't think it was a bad performance per se, and I don't think a 3-0 loss against Spurs is going to define our season. If anything, it's a little bit of a free hit benchmark, really. The next few games against Brighton and Southampton are going to be benchmarks, and those are games that I do expect some results out of. 4 points minimum from those 2 fixtures, and we'll do some previews on those a little bit later on. The last thing I really wanted to touch on was Leeds' stance on the comments made by Karen Kearney in the Amazon broadcast of Leeds versus West Brom, and the reaction that that ultimately got from the rest of the footballing community. Now, I've got nothing against criticism labelled at Leeds. It happens all the time. It's born out of ignorance. The comment that was made about Leeds only getting promoted because of COVID, I didn't, see much wrong with that. It was a little bit misguided and a little bit ignorant. And I saw the Leeds Twitter tweeting out the response, and I thought that was great as well. I then went to bed and didn't think anything else of it. I woke up in the morning to see the outrage and Leeds being public enemy number 1 and an enemy of all women in sport. And I thought that was a big overreaction. And I think the overreaction itself does a little bit of injustice towards women. Can we not criticise a female pundit for comments that may or may not be incorrect? Is that not allowed now? Is that a taboo topic that we can't touch? Because that to me seems like a step backwards. That seems like a sexist viewpoint. I believe that, female pundits should be criticised just as much as the male pundits should, and it comes part and parcel with the game. I don't condone the vile abuse that was directed at Karen after the tweet. And was it irresponsible of Leeds to post that tweet and defend themselves, essentially? Not even defending themselves, making a counter-argument. I don't think so. I believe the comments, they almost deserved each other in a way. And by that I mean Karen's comment on us being promoted because of COVID, and the Leeds Twitter posting what they did, defending themselves. I believe it's part and parcel of the game. This video has kind of morphed into a mid-season review, so I'll end off by commenting on where I think Leeds are at the moment this season. Points-wise, we are far and away on target for being safe. I don't think we really need to worry about relegation. I don't think that's even needs to be on the cards. I think we're on track for a very reasonable mid-table finish, 12th, 13th, maybe pushing 11th, top half of the bottom tier of the table, I guess you could say. That would be acceptable, and I think it's within our reach. A lot of people saying Bielsa teams burn out towards the end of seasons. Historically, yes, maybe there is a point to that. I don't think that will happen with Leeds. And the reason I say this, there is a method to my madness. The Premier League is, I would say, less physical and less demanding than the Championship. And I say that using the number of games played, the sheer physicality of the Championship, and the proximity of the games played, often, one every other day. The Premier League is a much more relaxed schedule, should we say, and there will be less constant pressure on Leeds. What I mean by that is, in the Championship, under Bielsa, the mental pressure to get promoted, nothing else would do. It wasn't a case of, can we scrape a result against Brighton? Can we get a free hit result against Spurs and Man City? No, it was Leeds had to win every game. The mental pressure of knowing that Bielsa would have left if we hadn't got promoted was huge. I think last year, in our Championship winning season, was possibly the most pressure a Leeds squad has faced in a long, long period of time. And I think this year, that pressure isn't going to be there. We didn't burn out last season. This season, I think, is going to be easier for the Leeds squad, both physically and mentally. So I'm going to stick my neck on the line here and say the Bielsa burnout effect, not going to happen this year in the Premier League, and we are well on track for a top half of the table finish. That's going to be it from me. Please let me know what you think of the new kind of audio-visual setups. I am planning on posting more content regularly. I will be doing some transfer rumours as the January window opens, and I will also be keeping up now with reactions, previews for the games, and all of that good stuff. So let me know what you'd like to see, or if you'd even like to see more. If you want me to collaborate with other YouTubers, please give me some suggestions for that as well. But please remember to like, comment and subscribe, all that good stuff. It does make a big difference in helping me keep this going. I guess I'll be back with some transfer updates and a preview of our FA Cup tie against Crawley. I will see you then, and as always, stay safe.